What's good, everybody? It's your boy O'Shea Duke Jackson, back at it again here on the episode, and I have a wonderful collaboration with you guys. I do appreciate you for being on the channel. Make sure that you subscribe, hit the bell. But today I'm with one of the brothers, man. I've been known for a long time here in the social media space. He is a part of our Hall of Game podcast live stream that's dedicated to educating, African American men, giving success tips to our brothers, and that is Hassani Ali from the Coaches Ali Corners YouTube channel. Brother, go ahead and tell people about yourself and what your channel is about.
Coach Ali's Corner here. Right now, I am currently working on some new projects, but as you know, O'Shea, men's motivational blogger, speaker, advocate, and coach. I've written for the Negro Manosphere for about 4 years, but right now, I'm working on a project to put a just an intricate combination of finances, health. Right now, I'm doing a health journey of as I'm trying to drop some weight, but just trying to give infinite knowledge. Because as you know, the relationship piece is the big game changer right now. So I'm trying to expand it out. So we, for the other brothers who are concerned about, getting their money up, getting into shape, community type of issues, and so just kind of trying to broaden the conversation a little bit.
Okay, I mean, you're a very intelligent man. You're very talented, which obviously to make it on my channel, you got to be one of the other, and you've definitely both. And I really thank you because you're a brother that has come a long way in your life, and you don't have to to talk to black men, but you do, and you're a part of a unique community, American community, not just because you're a professional or that you went to college and finished, but you're also an African American that is married as a young man.
Yes, sir.
Which, okay, and that's something that what I found out, especially in places like the manosphere or in the black spaces, in general America, is something that's looked upon highly. It's favored. Even in the African communities, it's favored highly. But it seems like, in my opinion, that married men, especially married young black men that are that are earning well, they get a lot of hate. Is that just me, or is it true?
I wouldn't say it's really hate. It's kind of more. It's not respected. As you know, the red pill, the MGTOW space is getting a lot of attention right now. The spotlight's on it. Everyone's kind of exposing the feminine nature of today's female. But it's just kind of like with the kind of nature of marriage and how the laws are, kind of people are like, oh, you're married? I respect it, but good luck. You know what I mean? And so it's it would be more noble if more men got respected for it, if that makes sense.
What would you say it'd be more noble? Why do you say that?
Well, because again, like when a brother gets married, it's brothers look at it as a gamble. If we hear the same stats, 50% of marriages end in divorce, and 80% of those divorces are initiated by the women. So logically and statistically, you're looking at it as this is not a probable, thing to go, to participate in, because more than likely not going to make it.
Mm-hmm.
And so if more brothers knew that they wouldn't get dragged, through the mud, through the divorce courts, and you have their assets and, other financial, whatever their finances they have taken away from them, children, that kind of thing, then I think more men would applaud it. And then on the women's side, if you don't have a particular look, or if you don't, gravitate, if you're not more of an attractive brother that they will kind of cling on to, then they kind of tend to be like, okay, well, who would marry you? You know what I mean? So it's just kind of not a respected initiation like it was back in the day. Back in the up until the 60s, we were the most married group in the country to I believe to 85 90%. And since the 60s, this has drastically declined, and so it's just not a respected initiation into adulthood, I guess you would say.
Let me ask you this, because you're also, you're a proud father. You just had another child. Very successful family and things like that. But one of the things that, and even brother Gabe, who's also a brother that's very similar to you, also, under 35, young, very brilliant man. And people come, I see a lot of professional young black men or younger black men get a lot of hatred. And I think because also when I look at like the white guys or non-black men, they don't have that culture of, hip hop. And hip hop is kind of like it's always telling you that women ain't about shit, right? Which I mean, obviously there are some women that do fit that bill, but and it's more respected if you're a black man and you're a professional and you're a player because obviously you can be young and you make a lot of money and you could have this woman and own this and own that because some brothers are doing that also. You have a lot of black men who are just players for the rest of their lives. What made you say, you know what? I know that I have this opportunity, and you were a football player. Obviously, you had a football scholarship. What made you say, you know what? I'm gonna do the traditional thing and be a provider and be a husband as a young black man?
Well, I tell you what. After you go, everybody goes through their player phase, their Mackin phase. Late high school, early college. At some point, it got boring. You know what I mean? And so, and mind you, I guess you could say I was a simp back then. Paying for dinners and dates and all that kind of stuff. But the chase just kind of got boring to me, and I knew I wanted something more. I knew at some point I was eventually going to get married. I came from a 2-parent household, and so one of the things I will always take from my father is that he said, I want you to end up doing better than I did. And so, my father has played a huge role in my life, and the upbringing and the discipline and the structure and everything to that degree. And so I knew that I eventually wanted, a wife and kids. As a coach, I'm a women's football coach. I coached youth boxing, elementary football. Like I've coached all over the place, but it's different when you have a family because, the children are yours from day one. And any father will tell you that's the most beautiful thing about being a father is that you get to coach somebody from day one, and then you get to see that product turn out 16, 17, 18 years later because you basically had the direct, influence into that, into raising that child. And so I wanted to get married mainly, for my selfish purposes, traditional, definitely wanted to have the structure. I always wanted a helpmate, and my wife does everything that I ask her to with no questions asked, and it's fantastic. But it was also something bigger than me because when it comes to marriage in this environment, people need to see it. And what a lot of married brothers stay quiet, especially in this space, because they're afraid of the ridicule that comes with getting married. What the backlash of, when she takes your stuff, bro, don't say that, we didn't tell you that these women weren't worth anything. But you know what I mean? For the brothers who are actually happy in their marriages need to speak up because not everyone's getting drunk, dragged through the ringer. Not everyone is getting divorced. Not everyone's having their kids taken away from them. Those, myself and other men who are in this field need to say something because if we don't, then we're going to keep the narrative that marriage is just all bad.
I'm a man that's it's single and never been married, close but no cigar. And I noticed that a lot of guys when they see a black man that's married, especially a brother that is, like you, a lot of potential, you're reaching that potential. A lot of guys will look at a woman as and a family as as a hindrance. And then and then a lot of guys also in the black male community kind of look at you guys that are married. Not all, but there is this thing like, oh man, married guys are complete simps. Like, what do you say about people who have that thought process? And is that the truth? Being a married young man, at the age where this is where the age most guys are out doing what they're supposed to do.
Yeah.
How do you push back against that narrative that married black men that are professionals are simps?
Well, again, it's where you have to come back and say, for the brothers who are actually happy in their marriages, for them to be vocal and say, I end up, I've been with my wife for 10 years, married for 6. And I'm at a I've been paying majority of the bills mostly, but I was working 2 jobs or always have side gigs. But having the money and the structure and the discipline, having all the components of a man helps with that, femininity, falling in line, fulfilling her role. Like I said, my wife takes care of the kids all day while I'm working here in the office. I have a nanny that we hire part-time, because we have a newborn, so obviously she needs the help. But again, it's the picture that's painted on marriage. It's that guys who are married are automatically a simp. And it's like, how can you, other than the stories that you hear, from the Dr. Dre's to the Kevin Garnett's to those type of people,
right.
It's that you're not looking at the brothers in their homes who actually run their house.
Right.
You know what I mean? You just have a skewed view of it because whatever your political interest is as far as dating and relationships, you only view the evidence that you want that to support your argument, as anyone would. But
right.
For the men who are actually leading their homes, for the brothers who work, where the wife don't have to work to pay significant bills, then you can see the difference in the home where, compared to a brother who may have to do the 50-50 thing. And again, I'm not knocking anybody who has to do it, but
right.
For those who pay the cost, you could definitely see a difference in their households.
Okay. So let me ask you this, because I think a lot of black men, because I did a video that's going to be coming out pretty soon, the difference between white dating coaches and black dating coaches. And I was watching Coach Corey Wayne.
Yeah.
And I was actually on the phone with Alpha Male Strategies, and I was talking to Alpha Male Strategies the other day, and I was telling him, man, Coach Corey Wayne is really, really thorough in his advice. I didn't know, because typically I don't listen to white dating coaches, but what I noticed is that a lot of his relationships advice he gives are people who want to get back with their ex, are for people who want a long-term relationship. And I asked Alpha Male Strategies, does he get certain calls? He's a successful African-American dating. He said, not really, because he's more in this space. Guys are really against relationships. But obviously, there are a lot of African-American men who want relationships, or maybe pretending not to want them, but they're still there.
Yeah, they're there.
What advice would you give? Because, there are black men out there who do want to be with, a black woman or some kind of woman or whatever in long-term relationship, but this is a black show. So you're married to an African-American woman. What advice would you give to black men out there who are seeking and wanting to know, what is it like being married? What are the real efforts that you have to put through to make it work? And for those brothers who are looking to return back to a traditional family in a time where times are not so traditional anymore.
Yeah. Well, I'll begin with this, is that if you don't know, well, my marriage is not through the state of Michigan. We have a non-state sanctioned marriage. We have a private contract that we written up through ourselves, between ourselves, had it authenticated. Then we had it filed at the Wayne County office for public record. So that takes off a lot of steam. So if something were to happen, you can't just run to the court, just say, we're divorced, I want, alimony, child support, XYZ. Like, you'll have to really fight it because you don't have a contract with the state. Secondly, my children don't have birth certificates. They have, we have, what you'll call it, tribal birth affidavits. And so again, it's one of those things where you're kind of living off the grid, as far as the legal part of it. But honestly, O'Shea, the part about being married that people don't understand is that you have to think about, you're going to be with somebody for a long time.
Right.
I've been with my wife for 10 years. I met her when I was 21. Now I'm 31. So of course things are going to come up. Of course you're going to butt heads. Of course you're going to be at that point where it's like, you know what, I don't feel like dealing with you anymore. But the problem that a lot of people have, not just men, but the women as well, is the lack of conflict resolution skills. And the soft skills. You know what I'm saying? Like, we love to do this thing where, if someone messes up one time, then I'm out. But guess what? That's going to happen in every relationship. Well, in most relationships, things are going to happen where, your so-called lady or your wife may act out, or you might catch her doing something. But at the same time, you have to think about it like, look, we made a commitment, and what are we going to do to keep this going? You know what I'm saying? We love to fantasize about, grandma and grandpa being, together for 60 to 80 years, but we don't know what happened behind closed doors.
Right.
We went over to grandma and grandpa's, they, granddad on the grill, grandma made some cookies, y'all playing, you go home. You don't see what happened after that. You know what I'm saying? And so the problem what I'm having with people, especially in today's age, is they don't want to do the work. Period. They don't want to do the work, period, to where you looking at it from like a long-term project. Think about businesses. Businesses have to adjust, whether it's lack of personnel, whether the company has, whether consumers have what do you want to call it, new needs. You're always making adjustments, and if you're always going to refuse to make those adjustments, then at some point it's going to fail. And once we realize that we need to work on, as a whole, we need to work on our conflict resolution skills and understand what relationships are actually supposed to be for, then, a lot of people be more inclined to work it out. But I love my marriage. You know what I'm saying? I love my kids. Once I get off work, I do my workout. Actually, my wife was trying to bring me a smoothie, but, she sees I'm recording because she, makes my smoothie from my cleanse. But, I love hanging out with my family. It's a family, it's a niche, it's a closeness that you wouldn't get anywhere else. And again, it's the leading by example. O'Shea, when I go to the grocery store, you know what kind of looks we get just from being a black man and a black woman and black children all in the same vicinity?
Yeah, I was going to ask you that because are people shocked? And you live in Detroit, so are people shocked that you're young? You just turned in your 30s. You're young. With people, how shocked are they?
People look at us all the time. People are trying to piece, what together. Like you can kind of see it because they'll kind of do like so those are her kids. So I wonder if that's a stepdad. No, he kind of looks like the kids. Are they actually together? Are they? You know what I mean? And it's wild to think, but there are a lot of us out here. My wife and I, we hosted Black Marriage Day for 3 years in a row here in Detroit. Just to encourage people that despite what you see out here, it's possible and it's doable. Especially if you want to put yourself in a leadership position, you get a different type of respect. You know what I mean? People always address me as Mr. Ali. People always, I'm the dependable person on the neighborhood. When I go to my school, well, back before we sent them to private school, I always go to the school and, teachers always come up to me and say how well my kids are doing and, need more male influence and yada, yada, yada. But you know what I'm saying? The leadership aspect of it is that one is that you have to be able to commit to something other than yourself.
Right.
And the issue I'm having with both sides is that everyone acknowledges that we have a messed up problem in the Black community with dating.
Right.
But everyone's like this. Like everyone's literally just like, well, I'm just gonna step back and let someone else, do the work. But again, who's gonna be the person to step up and take leadership and say, I'm gonna, give it a shot and see what happens? Because even if it doesn't work, I'm going, what I'm saying? At least I can say I tried, even if I fail.
Mm-hmm.
And
that's amazing because I know as being a young man, like it's shocking to me that because even in Sacramento, I didn't see a lot of people that were young, but I know that you and Brother Gabe, Brother Gabe was also from Michigan. He's around the same age, if not the same exact age. He's happily married, and there are other brothers, and mostly I've noticed that a lot of guys that are on the Hall of Game, except for a few, have been married or, it seems like the more professional and money that they make, the more likely they are to be married. And I know people are going to look at that and say, well, that's not true. But most of the guys that I know, if you talk about the Antoine Wade of the world.
Yep, just talked to him this morning.
Yeah, the most successful guys, 85%, 90%. My best friend's a dentist. Most guys that I know that are doing really, really, really well, outside of a few guys, 80% of them are married. 85% are married.
Yeah.
And I think there's a connection between, what do you think the connection is between successful Black men and marriages?
Well, as you dissect those statistics where 50% of marriages end in divorce, and 80% of women, initiate those divorces. The key stat that's never mentioned or taken out of context is that only in the upper classes, divorce rates only is at 20%.
Mm.
You know what I mean? If the two main causes of marriages are, lack of resources and infidelity, I mean, at least you'd be able to fix one of those issues, in the finance department. But again, it's one of those things where you have to be honest about the conversation and say, what are the men who are higher earners? What are they doing compared to the ones that are not as high earners? You know what I mean? They don't have to stress as much about, covering bills or whatever. They can afford the better houses. They can afford, sending their kids to better schools. And so the pressure is lifted off. You know what I mean? And so at that point, you don't have to worry about, both parents working two jobs to make sure, everyone has, food and whatever, because we know what happens at work, O'Shea. Everybody got their, the work bays. Everybody got, people that they hang out with, kind of like an escape from the everyday rat race. But the brothers who are out here, making the money, self-employed, have their own businesses. There's just something about it, where their masculinity, in particular, is radiating enough where their structure and everything else trickles down to the wife and the kids, and everything seems to be in order. I'm not knocking the brothers who, are maybe not a Henry or anything to that degree, but the brothers who are in the higher tax brackets seem to have a lot easier time, navigating their relationships compared to the ones who maybe make 50,000 or less.
All right, and guys, so this is Coach Ali, and this is a wonderful topic. I mean, I've been wanting the brothers to weigh in on it. I really appreciate the love that you guys have showed the space, even though a lot of guys come for you, but you people respect both of you and Brother Gabe's and brothers like Antoine Wade that are married, because we're also a black man, right? And we understand that.
Yeah.
And I definitely appreciate your contributions. Let everybody know where they can find your on your channel. I'll put the first comment to the top, but what could they expect from the Coach Ali's Corners YouTube channel?
So right now I am currently working on a project where I am building a compilation. I'm going to start working on soft skills and people skills, kind of helping brothers navigate for those who may have trouble getting, the jobs that they want, how to navigate and negotiate in conversations, how to get a job that you may not qualify for, but you may get a look depending on how your resume looks. Just things to just help, brothers navigate through this space. Like, again, relationships kind of take the precedent, and the manosphere, but, we have soldiers on, on that side of it, but I know there's a lot of brothers trying to expand out and help, Brian Brothers Horizons talk about finance, investing in crypto. Shout out to, Brother Oheen and Male Enlightenment TV, brothers who are doing the fitness thing. Brother Antoine Wade, does the soft skill training. But I think we just kind of need something where if I need to know how to, what's the top 5 interview questions, you can come right over here and get it. So I'm definitely working on something, big to that degree, but I'll definitely be doing some more live streaming and some content with some of the brothers in the manosphere.
Well, guys, I do thank you for your support and, on the channel. Make sure you go to the first comment pinned to the top. You'll see all of Coach Ali's Corners information. Subscribe to the bell. Tell them that O'Shea sent you over there. And any last words, Coach?
You know what? There is, because again, and I won't be long-winded. Again, the problem with with the marriage arena is that it's not respected, and it's almost like a joke at this point. I get the severity that what could happen to you in a divorce, but what happens if your marriage doesn't end a divorce? And it's funny. Shout out to Brother Maurice. I've been working with him to get my stuff up, and he said one of the most profound things that I ever would have thought about when it came to this space. Marriage for men is like submission to women. And I had to literally sit down and think about it, like, wow, like when I go to other spaces and I talk about, why marriage will be important, everyone comes, on the attack. And so again, I think it's a really important to, dissect and pull back the layers to say, other than, you just want to be single and you're just trying to use that as a point to justify when marriage is bad. Why is it such a bad event? Why are brothers who want to, build families, build communities are looked down upon because they're not, chasing poom poom. Some brothers want to, have a family, and that's, there's nothing wrong with that. And I support any brother who does it. If you have questions on getting a non-state sanctioned marriage in a private contract, reach out to me and we'll get it going.
Okay, I'll put all Coach, make sure you get, I don't know which email you want me to give them, but I'll put the emails also.
Yeah, that's fine.
There.
Yeah, the one you have.
Yeah. So guys, I do thank you so much. Coach Ali is a very talented man, very bright. Like I said, he's part of the Hall of Game. And so you guys go and support his channel and check him out. And guys, thank you so much for the support. And as you know, the buffoonery remains at an all-time high. Happy holiday season. Peace out.